Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode 55. In today's episode, Jen highlights the issue of negative self-talk, what it is, why it won't help you, and what to do about it. I've found a few effective strategies for dealing with negative self-talk not included in this podcast. Singing a little ditty, doing a little dance, and if necessary, watching It's a Wonderful Life. Trust me, it just makes everything better.
Hey there, welcome to Communication Diva, the podcast that talks about talking, about communications, about skills and techniques, and about people who are great communicators. My hope is that something that you hear here will inspire you to be a better communicator, because the more skilled you are at communicating, the less conflict you'll have in your life, and that can only be a very good thing. So some of you have been over to my Facebook page recently to see the photos of my husband and I kissing a stingray in the Caribbean. And yes, it was slimy, but it was also pretty fun to play with them. They kind of swished by and sideswiped us, and they were kind of slimy, but they were very curious. And I think they were putting up with us two-legged humans just long enough to be fed their squid. So it was quite something. They're wild. They're out in the ocean. They're not trained in a zoo or anything. They're out in the middle of the water, and they come when they see the boats because they know that if they put themselves through playing with these strange two-legged creatures, then they'll get a bucket of squid and they'll get fed. So you can see these images on Facebook at the Communication Diva page on Facebook, or you can get to it through my website at www.communicationdiva.com and simply like Communication Diva on the right-hand side of the site, and that will add you as a friend, and then you will be able to see the pictures. The sky and the water were just phenomenal. It was just beautiful visiting there. So another thing I wanted to tell you about is one of my coaching clients, Jim Munchback. Now, I don't usually talk about my coaching clients for confidentiality reasons, but Jim hired me in a more unconventional capacity, and I was more of a co-host with him on his podcast, and a co-host with ideas. So he has that all recorded and available to listen to, and so I'm able to share that with you here. Jim is a financial advisor and coach, and he is beginning to teach a class at the Bauer School of Business in Houston. And what he wanted was some coaching and some ideas around communicating his ideas on finances to the college-aged group. And so we recorded for a few hours, and what he has put together are a couple of episodes of his show called the MoneyBibleRadio.com. Actually, it's not .com. I have it here for you in a second. Jim is an author and the creator of a new concept called the financial calendar. And that was what the second episode was about. So if you're interested in hearing those interviews of Jim and I, you can go to www.moneybible.org. That's what it is. It's not .com. So it's Money Bible Radio, and it's moneybible.org. And I think the photo of me kissing the stingray is on that as well. So yes, it's all about financial planning and Jim teaching people about that. And he actually makes money much more interesting than I think it ever has been to me before. I've enjoyed his book that he's written, Make Your Money Count. And so there you go. Check that out if you're interested. Fun and games. Today's topic, what I want to talk about today, is self-talk, particularly negative self-talk and what it does to us. So that's what I promised you last episode that I would talk about, and that's what we're going to cover today in this little bit of a shorter episode than usual. What is self-talk? Well, it's that really annoying little monster of a voice that internal monologue in your head that tells you that you can't do things, or tells you you aren't good enough, or you don't look good. In fact, you look hideous in that outfit, or you're just going to fail, you aren't smart enough, pretty enough, or you just plain suck. Whatever other nasty little things that it thinks up. I am sure that you know the voice that I'm talking about, that negative, naysaying monster. And while it might be little, in the world of great and effective communication, this is actually a huge problem. Why? Because here's the thing. This little voice is not going to help you reach your goals if you continue to let it tell you negative, nasty things. If you continue to give it credibility, then yes, it will end up being right, and you will fail, or you will not be able to do the things that you first wanted to do. In fact, this negative voice, negative self-talk may lead to greater negative consequences in your life. It may leave you stressed and unable to meet the challenges of everyday living. It may lead to anxiety. It may lead to sleep deprivation because you're awake worrying, and it may lead to illness. It may actually lead to depression. I really think that words are extremely powerful things, and of particular importance are the words that we tell ourselves because they are the closest to us. If you can't believe in yourself, then why will anyone else in your life believe in you if you are constantly putting yourself down and being negative? The negative talk that you have running through your head might have begun as a result of something that was said to you as a child by someone in your life, a parent, a teacher, a peer. It might be the result of an experience of failure or an unreached goal that results in a lack of confidence. It might also just be a habit. But you can be sure that whatever it is, it manifests itself on the outside in ways that you may not even be aware of. So how can you stop this monster, or at least put it in the cage when you want to? Here's the thing. I've got 5 ideas for you, 5 steps or tips to help you to stop this negative self-talk, or at least to control it and to change it around in a way that will change your life to a more positive way of thinking, more positive outlook. So the first thing is to be aware of it, awareness. The first step to changing any behavior is to be aware of it in the first place. So paying attention to the negative self-talk and how often it occurs is the very first thing that you would do. Just notice when you start to say something, hear that voice in your head say something negative about yourself, you can say, wait a minute, there it is again. And just simply being aware of it will begin the process of being able to do something about it. So awareness is the first thing, right? Aha, just there it is. I notice it. The second thing is to get curious. So after noticing this negative self-talk, get curious. And I just love the tool of curiosity. So if you've been listening to Communication Diva for a while, you may have noticed that I love the tool of curiosity. It's just very, very useful in communication in many, many different spheres. So get curious. When you hear that voice tell you you can't do something, ask it challenging type questions. Really? Really? I can't do that? Prove it. How do you know that I can't do that? Is that a matter of fact, or is it a matter of interpretation? Where is the evidence? Why could I not be good at that, or could I not do that? So get curious. There are all sorts of curiosity questions you could ask, but those are some of them. Really? Really, I couldn't do that? Why not? Right? So that's the second thing. So first thing is to be aware. The second thing is to get curious. The third thing is to ask the says who question. Whose perspective is this voice coming from? Is this coming from the fear that other people outside of yourself will have negative thoughts about whatever it is you're trying to do? Are you holding anybody else accountable, or is it just you saying you can't do this? And how could this negative idea be explained? Right? So explain this negative idea. Why do you think that I can't do this? What experiences have led to the certainty that this little voice has about you not being able to do something. So ask the says who question. Who says I can't do that? Is it just me saying that? Because if it is, I can change that. Or, are there going to be legions legions of other people out there saying the same thing? In which case, the possibility is maybe this isn't in your capabilities. But to begin with, who says? That's the next question. The fourth thing is to ask, is this useful in any way? Is this self-talk useful? Sometimes the negative self-talk monster is actually trying to protect you from failure. Perhaps you need to explore limitations and boundaries around whatever the topic is. Maybe you can't do exactly what it is you want to do, but you could do something similar. And perhaps you just need more time to plan. So instead of using the energy that you have to worry and to fuss, you could use the energy to get creative. Okay, so if I can't do it exactly the way I wanted to do it, because this voice in my head is saying, you can't do that, well, then what would it take to be able to do it? Get creative, get thinking. And then tip number 5 is to reframe. If the negative self-talk is a habit, an old tiresome loop that makes you sick, try reframing the negativity into something positive. Breaking a habit means replacing it with a new habit. And breaking habits, as anybody who's tried to do so knows, takes a lot of work. So the way to do it is that each time you are aware of the monster and you've asked it some questions and you tell it to stop, you can reframe the thought with something encouraging, something positive, something affirming. And this is going to take a lot of work, but it's work that only you can do because it's your little voice in your head. It's your negative self-talk, and only yourself can fix it. So those are the 5 steps: awareness, being curious, asking the says who question. So it's an accountability thing. Whose perspective is this negativity coming from? Is this useful in any way? Could there possibly be some use in this negativity? And then how do I reframe this so that I am telling myself good things and building a good habit in my self-talk? So here's your homework, dear listener. If you suffer from the effects of negative self-talk, try the 5 steps over the next month and see how it goes. It is said that it takes 30 days to create a new habit. So it won't be done in a day. It won't be done by just listening to this podcast. But you know what? You can do this if it is something that is important enough to you to try. So try the 5 things. The very first thing is to just notice, just be aware, and then go from there. All right, well, that's all the time I have for today. I'm off to a university class this afternoon. It takes me an hour to get there, and so I've got to run off and do that today. Next week, I'm going to be bringing you a guest interview with attorney and former speechwriter John Corcoran of smartbusinesssolutions.com. And I met John at New Media Expo in Las Vegas in January, and he sounded like a very interesting person and someone that I thought would be a great person to bring to share with you. I look forward to learning more about his communication ideas and the things that he has done in his life and that he is doing now with the business that he's got, trying to help small businesses grow and blossom and such. So if any of that is of interest, I invite you to tune in next week and take a listen to that episode. Please come over to www.communicationdiva.com and say hello. Click on the comment box. It's the little one that has the number of comments and then it says comment. You can click on that and it will open up a box for you to sign in and leave a comment. I would love to have some feedback. Please share this episode on Twitter or Facebook or any other social media sites that you visit, or email it to your friends. I would love for you to help me to help others communicate to the best of their abilities, because truly, the less conflict in the workplace or in the world in general can only be a very good thing. And in order to spread the word, I need your help. So Here's me asking for you to share this or any of the other episodes that you find helpful, useful, or otherwise with your friends and your followers too. Okay, so until next time, this is Jen Swanson with Communication Diva. Take good care.